Alrighty, everyone. Good, and all my nobodies not watching out there. I did look it up. Technically, it can be defined as uh, chlorokinesis, Swamp Thing's ability, but that is very reductive. Chlorokinesis is an under it's understating the thing. Motherfucking traps through time. You just be like, I again, like I was right, which is really sad to me. That in this game, I'm not like between Marvel and DC. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I've said it here. I'm more of a Marvel. I'm way more Marvel fanboy than I am DC. I respect DC, like DC for certain things. It's another thing, and I like Dark Horse. I like and weird tales. I like all sorts of like independent, like whatever. Like I'm down. The comics, cool. I'm not a huge comic book reader, because that adds up, and yeah, that's just a reality. But I love the idea, I love the art, I love the stories, I love the characters. I just don't like I don't I have a good stack. I've owned a great many. Like I could walk 5 feet and be like, I've got one in my hand right now. Probably even less. But like, just like I also like anime, I love friggin' anime. I'm not as big a fan of manga, but I still have some. Again, within 5 feet, got one. Just on, because I'm messy and just cluttered and whatnot. But I have, I can stretch like a cat and just be like, there we go. Um, yeah, I don't read as much as I should, and I want to. But again, it's because it really adds up. A movie you can have and you can like watch, and it's like 2 hours, 2 hours, and like I'm not gonna sit there and like go through rereading manga or comic books too many times. That's to me, it seems more like an actual physically the collectors that sort of scratch that needs to be and like also if you haven't seen it or to have it first or the phone or whatever. I respect the art form, support it, appreciate it, and I love that it's more accessible. But I can admit that I don't appreciate it as much as it deserves, and I can say that. And I'm definitely more Marvel than DC. But my point was basically the fact that I'm like all that I know more about DC, and they seem to very heavily favor DC, and I'm like catching you guys on your not quite accuracies, or you didn't really go into enough detail for me, or you're losing nerd cred. You're losing some points there on my points deducted. Then it's coming from me, and it's just like I don't feel like I know that much about DC, but I'm like I know that. I don't know. I don't know too much about stuff media, but I don't have a Swamp Thing comic or anything. Uh, Pretty sure I got a Spawn one around here somewhere. I like Spawn. I draw Spawn. I like Spawn. That's sort of an obscure thing, and I've got lots of Spider-Man. Like I don't. I think I got like a couple DC, maybe like a Harley Quinn or something, something like that. Something that I got somewhere, wherever, whatever. And again, I appreciate the characters, but yeah, chlorokinesis is sort of very much a it's like that's sort of a blanket statement for the ability to manipulate plants and possibly grow them. And it's like, yeah, Swamp Thing's abilities are so much far beyond that it's not like that's if you want to be for brevity's sake, but it's like no, it goes beyond that. He's an avatar Like I said, like I actually looks like an avatar of the Green Protector, Guardian. He's the chosen champion. He like, and I looked up, rewatched the Don Cheadle, Captain Planet, and I was just like, pretty sure, like that's just like, who else wants to go green, bitch? Like, turn people into shrubberies and shit. You know, it's fucking awesome. So good. But I was like, something could do that, right? I mean, maybe not with like a beam, just pew pew pew. Now everything is like, everything's a drum. Everything's a drum. Everything's a drum. Only it's actually a tree. Yeah. You know, it's a tree. You're a tree now. You're a tree. You're a tree. It's like, turn you into a manatee. Turn you into a bun. Knee. Everything's a drum. When I joined you 10 years ago, you told me everything was a drum. Everything is a drum, brother. I let you play my penis. It's like, calm down. Oh, see, I was just, you're doing it wrong. Oh, I did. It's like, oh, there it goes. Everything is a drum. Everything's a tree. And Don Cheadle will make it so. It is his will. You know, the power is his. Also, fuck Lickbackers. I don't like them. No, not them. I don't like them. I also thought it'd be awesome if Don Cheadle. I saw something fucking where they were. I think it was a Mortal Kombat game, or I'm pretty sure it was Mortal Kombat. Maybe it was some other fighting game. Not a big fighting game person. Had like a real life person being in the game against, you know, supernatural characters. It's like, well, it's not very sporting, and it's sort of weird. And they had like a list, like, oh, top 10 times they had people like, what the heck? It's like, sometimes they're in the game, sometimes they're like, well, they're in the game, but are they fighting? Sometimes not. It's like, Snoop Dogg was in one, and he's just like, there's like a stage, I don't remember, I think it was, maybe it was Mortal Kombat? I don't know. They're just hanging out like a pimp. D-O-double-G. Just chilling. Like on a throne, just watching like the most 420 friendly Shao Kahn ever. You know, Shao Kahn, like when he sucks souls out of people, they tend to be green. He's like, oh, that's rookie green. You don't even know that purple. Shit. I like Snoop Dogg. I think he's cool. He's a fun thing. And actually, a lot of rappers have been in fighting games in some way, shape, or form. There's even like Def Jam Vendetta. Pretty much all the Wu-Tang Clan. I think Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit. I don't know. I don't remember who they had that was in a fighting game. Anyway, I was just thinking, Mortal Kombat, Don Cheadle's Captain Planet, right? Just add him in, because why the fuck not? It'd be funny. And then as his counterpart, as antithesis, his nemesis, you go with the animated film Fern Gully, the villain, basically the entity of destruction and pollution. I think I looked it up. It was like Hexus or something. Played by a hot crisp crust. Not Brendan Lee Mulligan, but actually Tim Curry, and I do a bad Tim Curry impression. I do a bad impression of Brendan Lee Mulligan doing a version of Tim Curry. Tim Curry's amazing. Spies. That was bad too. But just because that would be fun, like, you know, sometimes they do that in Mortal Kombat. They'll be like, oh, well, we have Yoda and Darth Vader, you know, like stuff like that. Like, that makes sense. They're in the same thing, but that would be a funny thing to me. Like, and honestly, it makes more sense than having like a normal human being, which I never understood in the Mortal Kombat series. It's like, I think Sonya Blade had special powers, but or at least developed them eventually, other than just the ability to punch you in the nuts. Cock puncher. And then the frickin' stop with the the flippy kick. That's not fair. The handstand throw is stop it. Uppercut you. Yeah, how do you like it? But she had like those pew pew kind of laser circle. I don't know. I don't know. But there were a lot of other human characters. Just, I think one was called Stryker. She was just a cop, as far as I recall. He was just a cop. He was kind of overweight. He looked like his real name was Billy. Jared. Keith. Something like that. And he just had, you know, a billy club or a nightstick, and guns. I don't think he had any powers. A lot of them didn't. And then you're just dealing with people who are like, that's a cyborg. His super speed. That one is a demon. Like, that guy has died. When he takes his mask off, there's a skull underneath. It's freaking Ghost Rider. He can breathe fire. This guy can freeze people. Like, why am I here? There's the blind guy has got telekinesis. What am I supposed to do? Like, I don't understand what's going on. Like, how am I supposed to do this? I'm just a guy with a 9mm and a police baton. What? I can throw out some flashbangs. This cyborg can just open his chest and just drop out explosives. They're better than mine. What the fuck? What am I supposed to do here? Get over here. That's what's gonna happen. I'm not even gonna be lucky enough to get thrown by thick thighs that end blue lives. I like that. I'm happy with the way that played out. Anyway, I just thought it'd be funny if they fought each other. You know? Hexus or Hexius or Hexus or whatever versus Don Cheadle's Captain Planet. Because I get the feeling both of those things would be super cheap to, like, get the IP for. And it would just be funny, just to throw them in. I don't know how well that works for balancing, because I don't know shit about all that, but I just think it'd be funny. Like, you know, like, they definitely have enough means to sort of throw them in. They make more sense than a human being, you know, based on their source material. I just these are the things I spend my time on and think about. Yuppers. All right, so we've checked out this person. I think that's all I really had to do was chlorokinesis, and it's like, no, Swamp Thing is so much bigger than that. He's the Avatar of the Green. Chlorokinesis is something that he has, but it's like, that's massively reductive. If I wouldn't say, oh, I want chlorokinesis like Swamp Thing. Say, I want the powers, I want Avatar of the Green. Chlorokinesis, like, say somebody else that has it. Like, again, more Poison Ivy, which also has other powers that I'm sure Swamp Thing can do if so inclined, just given the circumstance, like seduction and pheromones and all that other stuff, and just self-sustaining and whatnot, because that makes more sense. Plus, also, you already look like Poison Ivy. Like, you could literally go off screen, change into the green outfit with vines and stuff, and come sit back down and be like, that, alright, I'll take it. I would believe that more than the character you're playing right now. Like, maybe you're supposed to be Poison Ivy before she becomes Poison Ivy, like her origin story. I know she wasn't always Poison Ivy. It was like everybody else. It's you know, some sort of freak accident or self-experimentation, or both. A little column A, a little column B. But you look like Poison Ivy. Like, I would believe you playing the character. At least here, it's more believable than you. And now to this one, who's just a liar. What do you have to say, liar? Well, What were you like as a child?
What were you like as a child?
I was a hoop tumbler.
I remember
You
hoop
get the
and
wee
stick.
hoop and you run it down the street.
Is that what
with
they're
your
called?
wooden
It's a
stick.
hoop trundler?
I was getting so good at it. I could go really fast and really far. I had to
But-
stop using rickets.
I know I shouldn't laugh because it's a real thing. I'm pretty sure it's like shin splints, and if I remember, I'll look it up. I didn't remember last time. I'm pretty sure it's something. Yeah. I think that she's again embellishing. Is that's not from Forrest Gump, is it? Forrest Gump didn't hoop trundle, did he? Now I'm like, nah. You didn't have like rickets, did he?
If you could have any superpower, what would you choose?
Go ahead and say
I
it.
would choose superpower to heal like Wolverine.
Yeah.
That
Except for
would
you already
just
apparently
be
do
so
that.
handy for me. It would save so much time. I wouldn't have to go to hospital every single time I got attacked by a wild animal or caught some terrible disease or was in some almost fatal accident.
But it's always almost fatal. Just always almost. Alright, what else? Oh, well, that doesn't make... I'm looking up the thing about Forrest Gump, and it's like they're just saying... I'm not going to talk about that. I don't know what it had to do with his legs. I don't want to talk about his mental state. Oh, maybe mild case of cerebral palsy or polio. But it never got properly diagnosed, but apparently he was on the spectrum officially. If I recall correctly, the movies are different from the books, and there are books, and there are a number of books, I think 3 in total, at least 2, and they are just different. While the movie is a classic, and it rightly deserved, well played, it's a good story, it's fun. It doesn't go into as much detail and isn't as just tragically sad as the books, which I have not read. I've just heard stuff about, I think, and I could be wrong about it. There might not be too. I'm pretty sure there's a sequel. I think the sequel was supposed to be made of the movie, and it didn't happen for reasons that it was like, no, we're done. It's good. We don't need more. It's good. We're good. It's like, no, the story's not over. It's like, no, it is. If they want it, they can go read the book. What's your biggest fear?
What is your biggest fear?
I don't know if
Biggest
Forrest
fear is flying.
was a hoop trundler though.
And it's always been my biggest
And he didn't
fear
have
when I was
rickets.
a little girl.
Apparently.
Petrified of flying. And so my parents got me an emotional support dog called Mr. Fluffers. And they told me that as long as I had Mr. Fluffers with me when I was flying, everything would be alright. So off I went on my first plane trip with Mr. Fluffers, and
Then
I knew
it,
everything was going to be alright.
but it
Even
wasn't.
when the plane crashed into the mountains, I still
The
knew
plane
everything was gonna be
crashed
alright 'cause I
down.
had
It
Mr.
was like,
Fluffers.
isn't this nice?
Fortunately,
Isn't it
was like
ironic?
3 weeks
Mr. Fluffers didn't
we
help.
had before the search and rescue team found me and other survivors.
That's a little too
3 weeks
ironic.
without food.
I ate Mr. Fluffers
So
and
I
was
suppose, you know,
and everybody
we
before
wouldn't
they
have been
started
alright
to
if
stink.
Mr. Fluffers hadn't been there initially.
What the fuck about that intensity there at the end there? What the? Okay, I'm gonna have to rewatch that. Just like, what happened? Did you just blame Mr. Fluffers, or you're like, I only survived because of Mr. Fluffers? It's like, so you've been poor all your life. Have been poor. Just like, don't really matter no, like, but you had money to fly and had family, and then apparently not. I'm gonna have to watch that just to understand what happened there. I'll look at Ricketts while I was doing that, which is on my include delayed growth, delayed motor skills, bow legs, muscle weakness, and pain in the spine, pelvis, and legs. And yet, I don't know, you got yourself out of a compacted trash cube in a friggin' landfill. That's not normal. Basically, it's pretty bad. Ricketts is bad. You don't appear to have rickets. You are a liar. I guess what was your childhood dream?
What was your childhood dream?
You were
I don't
already
remember my
smiling.
childhood dream. It's
It was
I mean,
being a
we
hoop
didn't have any
tender,
money to afford a TV set,
but you could fly.
but my neighbours did.
Because you could
see it if you just peered out the window a certain way. We could see across into their living room, and they would always watch.
that's got to be from multiple movies.
All I wanted was to be a winner.
We got a winner.
Game shows and just.
We got a winner.
Goodness.
Harry's got juice. Harry's got
Is it
juice.
for me?
Harry got juice. Yeah, no. See, that was manipulative slack. That you're like, oh, finally you asked the question. That's all I really want. I just, let's make a deal. It's like, no, you're a liar. Nothing you say adds up. What's your happiest memory?
What's your happiest memory?
Drinking your milkshake.
Now, my happiest memory is the day my beautiful daughter Mallory was born.
Of course, she's named Mallory.
I had her in the hospital and everything.
And everything.
I was already in the hospital because I'd been bitten by a
Yeah,
raccoon.
that's fancy. Like a
suppose
proper
it would've
rights
been easier if
dignitary
I
of
got
royalty.
present, but I got stuck in an elevator on the way to the maternity floor. There I was, with the raccoon I brought with me to get tested for the rabies. It got loose and I had to fend that off for a while.
I'm just imagining it.
Out Mallory came and
Friggin',
life was perfect.
friggin' just, like, I don't know. Peter Griffin friggin' against, but her, so more looking like Lois Griffin, but 9 months pregnant, but not Lois Griffin, because she's a badass and this lady's a liar. Lois is not a liar. I mean, she does lie, but this lady only tells lies. It's like Lois lies because it makes sense for the thing or whatever. It's funny or whatever. It's like a lot of times she's just like, what? You wouldn't lie about that. Why are you saying? Don't tell people that truth. There was no need for that. It's like, it's funny though. Haha. Yeah. You're just not. You don't make sense. You're like, oh yeah, I happen to be 9 months pregnant and pretty much ready to pop. Got bit by a raccoon. Somehow scrambled it, just captured it, took it with me so I could make sure I didn't have rabies. And while I'm doing that, well, now I'm having my babies, but it was just a single. And it's like, you wouldn't be alone in. They're not going to just be like, oh, well, maternity is on this. It's like, that's not how that works. You're not just going to be like, all right, hit the elevator, take it to the 4th floor, hang a left. They'll get you sorted out there. It's like, nah, man, you're going to get like stuffed into a, friggin' wheelchair and you're escorted. You're not going to be alone while holding a raccoon. This just sounds like a Family Guy friggin' like a joke, like a bit. Anyway, how about you? What's your most unusual talent? I don't remember if I asked.
What is your most unusual talent?
I'm an expert.
Oh yeah.
falconry.
Yeah, I was not surprised about that.
I
Forgot
have
it,
a
but
small collection of
again,
extremely well-trained birds of prey.
it's only weird in the sense that you're from LA,
Owls to be
and
particularly useful.
and also the owls. How much money do you make doing tarot readings and just whatever dog you fed the dog to your falcons? Didn't say what kind of dog it was. Birds of prey have been known to take small breeds of canine just pets. Just like you can look that up. Just like, well, they are Mr. Steal Your Teacup Chihuahua, and honestly, like larger dogs, just like depending on the level. California has some pretty large birds of prey, if I recall correctly, larger than falcons, and owls. Although some owls can become very large, you're gonna end up with, I'm pretty sure eagles, depending on the area, not necessarily in LA, but you get it. I don't know where you're gonna have to have a collection of that, and then you're gonna travel to the city. Like, how do you get there? It's just like the Grinch Stole Christmas thing. Like, you live in the hills and you just sort of like slide in, and then like you trudge back. What's going on there? Laws broken by you. Most
What's the most
serious.
serious
Tell
law
it.
you have ever broken?
See, the problem with that question
Oh yeah, right.
is that you need to be caught.
It's
tried and convicted
I was watching
for you to be.
Dr. Jordan
breaking
Breeding
the law.
today. It's
Now
like,
say
well,
I
Dave
keep
just keeps telling me, if there's no body, there's no murder. That's legally, that's it. They're just missing. It's like,
Was it murder?
who knows? Foul play, any
Until it gets in
play.
front of a jury,
Maybe they
it's-
just ran away. Maybe
not done
maybe
enough
they
to
got
law.
abducted by aliens. Maybe they just changed their identity. I've met people who... Okay, now that just makes me sad. I'm like, I know too much about runaways and have been in a weird life, man. I'm just like, it's weird to be like, hey, I actually, that's like a guy I hang out with. Like, he's on this thing. His picture doesn't really resemble him that closely, but that's definitely his name, and it kind of resembles him. Hey, shut up. Talk to him. Oh yeah, for my family. It's like, that doesn't sound like a legitimate story. You're definitely lying. But apparently they want you to go home. Just so you know, I figured I'd mention it. Awkward moment on all accounts, because I could tell you're not telling the truth and you're giving me some story, which it's like, dude, if you don't want to go home, I was like, I'm not gonna fucking. It's not like you're wanted by the law, although I think they actually were, but that's not what the thing was about. It's like, you don't want to go home, you don't want to go home. I'm not here to... This isn't Red Dead Redemption, which I have not played, but for some reason I keep referencing because of the whole Charlie problem. I'm not gonna bounty hunt your ass, that's not my job. I'm not gonna... You don't want to go home, you don't want to go home. People have problems with their family all the time. I'm just glad you seem to be doing better than a lot of people who aren't doing better when they have that sort of circumstance. I already know what you're doing with a living. What's your fear?
What is your biggest fear?
Normalcy, mundanity.
Having to get one of those.
Yep.
normal
Peasants.
Peasant jobs.
But you
One where
were
there's
a dog
boss to
sitter.
report to.
I mean, okay.
Clock's punch.
But you probably used the dog
I
to...
tried it.
for ritualistic
When I was
purposes.
younger.